Hey, folks. I have a dear friend whom you all, if you watch this station, you've seen on here about 20, 30,000 times. And his name is Richard Liersch. He's a filmmaker, he's a movie maker, a short filmmaker, man around town. He loves cars. He has a lovely wife. And we have so much fun talking to each other that we do it every chance we can get, which is usually every what 2 or 3 weeks, month. We meet more than once a
Yeah,
month.
we do. I thought I put my lumber shirt on here, so I
Why
look like I'm
not?
just not.
Yeah, I damn near put my red jacket on, but it's just not as, I don't know. My housemate, who's a friend, got me a really nice garment the other day, some kind of a jacket. I just love it. So anyway, you
Yeah,
wanted to ask about me, and I appreciate you doing that since I don't. I
let's hear your
did do an
story.
interview. So a friend of
Hmm.
mine interviewed me a few years ago. So I have now 3 or 4 YouTube channels. I don't remember which. One of them is kind of a diary and just my day to day running the business. Like I videotaped myself doing phone calls one day,
Hmm.
like two or three sessions. And I have another channel, of course, that's I have 2 channels that represent my other show. The other show is called In Our Community,
Hmm.
and that one has its own small YouTube station channel that I put out, and then KMVT Television, where I'm a volunteer in a Life Achievement Award and all that stuff. Volunteer of the Year. Um, they have a very large YouTube channel and they have thousands and thousands of shows. And I have my In Our Community show up on that channel, and it's got about 150 shows in there. When I started doing television back in 2001, we were just barely getting out of the reel to reel phase,
Hmm.
just barely going into what in the industry is called SVHS, which is a supposedly a higher quality than the VHS that people used to use. And then, of course, everything went to DVDs, and then it went all digital, and so I've been through all those changes. I'm not technically astute. I can barely spell the word TV, but I did used to teach at that station. Even though I'm an owner of a show, my position there is I'm a volunteer.
Hmm.
I used to teach camera and floor manager. I had about a crew of 8 to 12 on my show, and we used to do back in the day. We would do one show a month. This month here on this show, which is called Marc Isaac Putter Presents, we're scheduled to do 14 shows this month.
Oh,
So, and we've did last week we did 2 or 3, and we're scheduled for 14, not counting the 3 that you and I just did today.
now tell me what type of people are involved in the production. In other words, who is on screen for the
Uh,
interview?
Good question. I work with a very eclectic set of guests. I like it if people want to tell their life story. I often work with the realtors in particular. I work with business people. I have a good friend whose name is nearly the same as your friend, so I always get the 2 of them wrong. We'll call my friend Ms. Hagen because her first name is almost exactly like your young friend who reads your story. And so yeah, we just business owners. I did a show with a guy down in Georgia who has a energy generator that's pretty interesting and has a small carbon footprint. I have a guy that I have on regularly who does life insurance, but is dedicated to financial education for people. Just a whole bunch of. I've had on gal from a Texas Chamber of Commerce branch. That's about 100, maybe 105 shows on the Mark Isaac Potter Presents. And my email is mipc441 at gmail.com. mipc441 at gmail.com. And my phone number, I'm always on the phone, so just leave a voicemail or a text. Voicemail, email's better for me. Phone is 408 209 3092. 408 209 3092. So, yeah, thanks, Richard. And were you asking me a question or am I just
No,
pontificating here?
no. I'm just always interested, to see what you've
Yeah,
been doing, been up to lately, because
yeah.
we kind of pick ourselves up, as we go along in life here. And
Oh, yeah. No. I've had over the since June of 2024, I've had a lot of medical issues.
mhm.
I had COVID twice. um, hurt my back rather severely and has not healed. Can't afford the chiropractor, of course. I'm trying to remember. I have two. Well, I have two or three ongoing conditions from years ago. Had a heart attack in 2014, and that's resulted in a lot of congestive heart failure. And I'm a mentally ill person, which you may or may not know yet. And so I've got 4 or 5 or 6 pieces to my diagnosis: bipolar and clinical depression, PTSD, disassociation. And I've had that.
Wow.
That's been diagnosed since 1990.
So how do you deal with all of these issues?
Oh, how do I deal with it? How do I deal with it?
Yeah. You talk to him? Does he set you
try,
straight?
try to be as goofy as possible. You were telling a story about your family. My stepmother threw my brother and I down the stairs in an attempt to kill us when we were little, and she didn't manage to do it. But later, decades and decades later, we got to care about each other. But it took a lot of decades. So
Wow. Is that
a
where the
lot of
PTSD?
trauma in my childhood.
Yeah,
A lot of
PTSD.
a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Just tons and tons of stuff. But I used to work at Stanford for 13 years as a blue collar machine operator. I loved doing that. And
You worked at Stanford College?
Stanford University, yeah. Yeah.
Kind of interesting. I just interviewed a man who wrote the book on him.
On
Uh,
what? On Mr.
on
On Leland Stanford? Okay.
yes, as a matter of fact, um, the town the town I mentioned, the town I mentioned, Port Washington, is where he came from out east, and he settled right here in our town in Port Washington, Wisconsin,
Your town is called Port Washington?
right next to us. Yes, and Leland Stanford
Right.
started a law office in this town. This was his first law office.
I'll be damned. I did
Yeah,
not know
and his
that.
brother was a owned a hardware store. So at any rate,
Now, does your 2 acre farm live in Port Washington itself, like within the city limits or not?
no, we're out of the city limits.
Are you in the township? Do y'all have townships there like we do in Ohio?
Yep. Yeah, we're in the township of Saukville. The
Oh,
very,
okay. Because
it's all rural. So in other
we
words,
grew up in Vermilion Township in Vermilion, out of Vermilion, Ohio.
yeah, we
So
we very rural.
Leland, Leland Stanford had his first law office in Port Washington.
Yes, yes. And what happened is Leland was quite successful in our town.
Hmm,
And what happened is there was a great fire in Port
okay.
Washington,
Okay.
and it burned down his office, burned down the entire block.
Oh, Lord. What year would that have been, Richard?
Oh, about 1890s or somewhere in there. I forget where it was. This was when he was in his 20s, in his 20s.
Okay.
So his brother invited him to go out to California and join
Right.
in a hardware store.
Okay. Huh.
And so Leland left his mark here in Wisconsin. And just recently, I video recorded the man who wrote the book on him, because Leland was the man who was responsible for driving in the Golden Spike for the Transcontinental Railroad. Remember?
Oh, yeah. 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 And that was like Moab, Utah, or Provo, Utah,
Yeah.
somewhere
So
like that. Yeah.
he came here to give an hour-long lecture. We brought him in and to premiere his book. And so
Okay.
I was hired to video record his life story here.
I'll be darned. Wow.
Yeah,
What a
and
small world.
I met his wife and his son and his wife. So
Yeah.
we flew him in, and then he stayed in town here. So what's the story was that when he got out there, I believe he had a son that died. He was
I
married,
think so. I think I've heard that. Yeah.
and
I think
I
I've heard
believe, was
that.
uh, his wife was poisoned, I believe, to death on a boat.
Oh
So,
my
okay.
God. What's the hell? Oh Lord. I don't know what to do with these phones. Of course it won't turn off. Just keep talking. I'll
So,
put it on mute once she stops calling. Or I'll turn it
the
off.
story is, the story is that Leland named a college after a while. He was, according to the way this man said, he was really a crook.
Well,
The guy was a real crook.
some people think that. I'm not going to give my opinion here publicly, but yeah.
He
And
wrote, he said
so he
he did this.
started at college before he started Stanford, or what?
He was a lawyer out east, came
Yeah,
here.
but I mean,
Oh
Leland
yeah,
Stanford started a college before he started Stanford, or not?
yeah, before. And then he named it after his son who died.
Which, what was the name of the college?
Leland, the son was he started it, we called it Stanford, but I don't have all the information here. I got the book somewhere. But what it is, he named the college Stanford. I don't know.
Yeah, that's out here.
Leland was the guy. So, at any rate, he built the college there, and then obviously it got large. It just got to be
Yeah, oh yeah, oh
you
yeah.
work there, you know what it's all about. So this man it was very highly detailed story about the man. It was really interesting.
What's the name
He
of the book
kind
and
of,
what's the name of the author?
I don't have it here in front of me here, but
Well, just from memory. How close can you get from memory?
I don't
Don't
have
don't
it.
go look for it. Just what do you think his name was? Because there's probably more than one book about Leland Stanford, I
Yeah,
think.
let's see. The latest book on Leland Stanford.
Okay, I'll also look it up. But like I say, there's probably at least two or three
Yeah,
books, if not more.
his name is Roland DeVolk.
Uh, okay, Roland D. Bulk.
I'll spell it for you. Roland, first name, and then it's
Right.
DE, and the last name, the rest part of his name is VOLK.
D. Volk.
D
VOLK.
V
Roland
W. I'm sorry,
DeVolk.
D Walk. And the story is American Disruptor, The Scandalous Life of Leland Stanford.
Huh.
That's the book he wrote.
I'll be darned. So,
Yeah, the latest
huh.
book.
It's
And there's a picture
recently
of
out,
Leland
huh?
on. Yeah, there's a picture on the cover of $18.50.
Oh, I see it. I see it here now. Yeah. American Disruptor, The Scandalous Life of Leland Stanford. Thriftbooks.com, 26.45, $26.45. And my goodness, that's Jesus.
Yeah,
All
I had.
right. Wow, that's craziness right there, Doug.
Yeah, I
I'm
just.
going to look it up on Amazon to see if I can figure out.
Yeah, he was a
Leland
very
D. Woke, W. It's either
VOL,
O or A. I can't see it. I got to get
Roland
my.
D. Walk. Yeah, and he was a real colorful guy to interview. Really great.
You interviewed him about the book.
Yeah,
Do you
and
have that interview? Are you
I,
posting
I
it to your
do have
YouTube or
that
not?
interview. Yeah, I can dig that up.
Yeah, that
Um,
would be nice.
he
Oh,
was very comical in how he told the story, and
yeah.
and that's why we brought him to Port Washington, because this was basically the beginning of his life right here in our town.
Okay. What year did he come to Port Washington?
Let's see. I'll
He
look that
was
up right now.
20?
Here. Leland, Stanford, Port Washington, Wisconsin. Let's see what's here. Leland,
Okay.
Stanford, Port
I'm gonna
Washington,
while you're
Wisconsin.
looking, I'm gonna read some of this Amazon description here. American Disruptor is the untold story of Leland Stanford from his birth in the backwoods bar to the founding of the world class university that became and remains the nucleus of Silicon Valley. The life of this robber baron. Now, this is obviously the opinion of the author.
Yeah, he did a
Life,
lot of it.
life of this
Extensive
robber
work.
baron politician and historic influencer is the astonishing tale of how one supremely ambitious man, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. Well,
And believe his wife was poisoned to death by her maid on a ship.
now you mean Stanford's or your friend
No, no,
Roland?
Stanford's wife.
Okay. I don't know about that. I didn't hear that one. I heard his son had
Stanford's
something happen.
wife.
Did you see his son died at some point?
Where, Elaine? What is it, Elaine? It was in Europe where it happened.
Mm,
Her name was Jane Stanford.
okay. Wow.
And
Okay.
what happened to his wife? She died. It says 1905. She died in Hawaii, where she had traveled after a failed poisoning attempt in San Francisco.
Huh.
And it says the verdict in Hawaii was that she had died of strychnine poisoning. That was his
Huh.
wife.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's some pretty crazy stuff.
Isn't it? It's a real story. And this guy did a real in-depth
Well,
story.
and you and I come up with the most interesting things in the course of our little shop talk thing here.
Yeah. We go all over the world. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Hmm. You gotta go.
No, 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 no.
So,
My wife Elaine says hi.
hi, Elaine.
Hi, Marc.
You're always welcome to be on the show, Elaine, anytime.
Here, Elaine.
No
Just
thanks.
Elaine, let him see you once. Come here. I'm gonna bring my
You're like,
here's the reason why I wrote Angel in this part.
Hi.
oh, hi,
There
honey.
she
You're on
is.
camera.
There's my
You
angel
are
on
a
the
very
cover.
attractive young lady. Gee
Oh.
whiz.
Thanks.
Wow.
I'll tell you
Now
a
I
quick
see
story
why
about her.
Richard's always so happy.
Well, I drove by her house when she was little, and I was commenting
Oh,
to her. She's 8 years younger, and I said to when I was 19, I drive by her house. They said, "Oh yeah," to my buddies. I was just joking to her. Yeah, I'm going to marry that little girl playing out on the swings in the front of the house. How old were you then when I went past your house?
I don't.
She was like,
oh my
8.
God.
So,
How
yeah,
long have y'all been married?
Going on 54 years now, Elaine. 54 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know how she
I-
puts up with me. I'm all over
I
the
don't
board.
know either.
You talk about EDD.
Yeah, my wife was 16 years older than I was. And she
16?
16,
Wow.
1-6.
I thought you
And
said 60.
she passed away
Oh.
in 1995.
Oh.
Yeah, I miss her like crazy. Her name was Carol Potter. Well, she was Carol. Her middle name was D. Carolyn D. Uh, Hayes Maloney Potter. So
Ooh.
born Hayes. Then she married a guy named Maloney for 23 years, and then she married me 7 years after that.
Well, then she got the bargain.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she got a bargain. Oh, yeah. I got the bargain. She
So
got the
did
shaft.
I. I
All
married
right, dog.
a
I'm getting tired, Richard. I'm gonna wrap this, but
Sure.
let's do some more shows whenever we both feel like it. Okay.
Give me a call anytime. We can have some fun.
All right, boss. You heard it from the remarkable guru, Richard Liersch.
We have a break.
We have so much fun. I can hardly stand it, folks. All right. We'll catch you people later. We love you. You know, I always turn my face because I'm too stupid to be able to
I'll
figure
have
out
some.
the recording.
I'll have some stories to tell you next time
Oh,
we get.
good. Maybe we should do this tomorrow. I'm kidding. I got a show tomorrow. Soon.
All
Call
right.
me. Call me.
All
Leave
right.
me a message. All right, folks. Love you.
Love you.